The Tim Heale Podcasts. Ordinary people's extraordinary stories.
Welcome to the Tim Heale Podcast. In this episode, I'm going to have a chat with young Amanda. Amanda, if you can tell me when and where you were born, and if you can describe what it was like where you grew up, the schools you went to, and the education you received. So now you're in
Hi.
the room.
So I was born on August 5th, 2004 in Huntington. I think in Huntington Hospital. I was born somewhere in New York. I started off my education by going to this private school that was by the name of St. Paul's. It's no longer that name or a private school. It closed down. But I went there from pre-K to kindergarten. Then I transferred to a public school that is named Belrose. That school is also no longer existing. It shut down last year because of COVID. But I went there from grade 1st to 5th. Then I went to a middle school, but I'm not going to give the name of my middle school because it's still up and running. But I went to a middle school from there. My mom would be very mad if I leaked my middle school. And that my elementary school days were fine. My middle school days were a little rocky. I did not enjoy my middle school at all. Do not ever want to go back there. Now I'm in grade 11, and from 9 to 12, I'll be in high school where I am right now. I like my school pretty much. It's not that bad. Compared to my middle school, It's a lot better.
Well, let's just take you back a little bit. What can you remember of your kindergarten days?
It's funny. I remember it being kind of chill but different because I was in a private school, not a public school. So I remember being full of all the rich people who put their kids in private school, which at the time I was in a middle class family, I guess. I remember them teaching us Spanish. I don't remember a lot. I remember bits and pieces.
At that sort of age, you're like a little sponge. You should be able to remember everything.
I was at the time I wasn't diagnosed yet, but I had a learning disability. So I had just gotten diagnosed, I think, with ADHD.
All right.
Yeah, and then that's why I transferred.
That could be a problem.
Sorry.
I said that can be a problem.
That's why I transferred out of that private school and went to a public school that could get me all the services I needed.
Right. Okay. So why did that private school close down then?
Because of money and funding. Not a lot of people were going there, so they had to close it down.
Not because anything you did.
No. Oh no. No.
I mean, diagnosed with ADHD and
anxiety,
and school closing down. I mean, it could have been something
the school closed down back in 2019, I think. I don't.
All right. Well after you left then.
Yeah, after I left. And it was also hard to go to school there because at the time I was also diagnosed at the age of 6 with adult ranking anxiety. So the school just wasn't able to treat me there. So I switched to a public school.
Okay. So while you were at the public school then, is that just sort of stepping up to a different kindergarten?
That was stepping up. So after kindergarten, there's first grade. What's grade 1?
Yep.
So I went from grade 1 to grade 5 in that elementary school, then grade 6 to grade 8 in the middle school, now grade 9 to grade 11 in my high school. My public school days, they have been something else. That's how I'll describe that. Something else in my public school.
Okay. So grade 1 to 5 then, how do we get on there?
So grade 1 to 5, I was that kid who had a lot of energy and was just very, very would not shut up. All I would do was talk. I used to get sent out of class for talking. Still do till this day, actually. Not one of my biggest flex, but I have been thrown out of class for talking a couple times this year. But I was just a very chatty kid who was very outgoing. I had a hard time socially, and I've always had a hard time socially keeping friends. I met this girl in my elementary school who was part of this friend group of guys. Now, these guys at first hated me, but now they're like my brothers. And they all used to have a problem with me, that whole group. So throughout my elementary school days, I used to have problems with all that group. But I think going into our 5th grade year, we mellowed out a lot. I became a lot closer with some of them. And I just I don't know, I was in and out of friend groups and having a hard time. So I was ready to go to middle school. My middle school years were the worst years hands down of my life. Never want to go back to my middle school.
We'll have a little bit of a chat about that in a second. Yeah. But just to finish up with your for your 1 to 5.
Oh, my 1 to 5, I had some really interesting things happen.
Yeah, let's have a look at some of that. What was your favorite lesson?
So my favorite lesson I learned was not to be talking and walking backwards. I was walking back from the field to my school in 5th grade, and I hit my head on a stop sign and got a minor concussion.
Ouch.
A minor concussion.
Yeah.
I was out of school for a week.
You must have been travelling a fair old lick going backwards to do that.
Yeah. I was talking, and nobody told me there was a stop sign behind me.
Oh, nice friends you've got.
I know, so nice. Or another memory I've learned was not to listen to the guys. I was at my guy's friend's one time in elementary school, and he ripped out my earring, and now I have to get stitches.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I bet there's an awful lot of claret involved with that, because when you nick an ear, it doesn't half bleed some.
It was bleeding like there was no tomorrow. We were wrestling. To be exact, we were wrestling. So, like, I used to think I was still rough. I used to be a very rough kid. I still am a very rough kid. And, when I'm with the guys, we rough house, and I always end up getting injured.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I guess because you're almost 18, you haven't learned proper lessons when to stop.
Nope. Nope. Nah. And it's sad. I don't talk to any of those kids from my elementary school like I used to. The one girl in that group, we're no longer friends.
Yeah.
Then the main guy in that friend group, he's always going to have me in his life, whether he likes it or not. He hates me to death, but we always have class together. He's stuck with me. He's been stuck with me since the 1st grade. I don't think he understands that he's always going to have me in his life. And trust me, there'll be days where he'll talk to me, days where he'll just roll his eyes and look at me. So, he loves me. He's just not going to admit it. And then the rest of the group, I don't really talk to any of them either.
So let's dabble a little bit.
In my 5th grade year, I had a major event happen. My 5th grade year of elementary. My family friend died from stage 4 pancreatic cancer in hospice.
That's pretty major.
That was a very big, turn of events for me. I ended up becoming very upset afterwards, and for a very long time had to process that. She was somebody who was very, very close to me, so I didn't handle her death that well.
Did you get any counseling or anything like that for it? Did you get any
help?
I
used to go to therapy out of school, so yeah. And I needed a lot of time to process that. That was hard. That took a very big toll on me.
And did it help in the long run?
It helped, and eventually I'm the best I've been since she's passed. I'm the best I've been since she's passed now. But I miss her. Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's since,
and my dad was in and out of jobs and stuff. He's a recovering addict, so he's always been in and out of my life like that.
Yeah. So that's a challenge for a kid that's got a challenging condition to start with.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see where you're coming from. We've had a hard time.
I had a very hard time with that, but then I started middle school. That was something else. My first year of middle school, my grandfather died. And I didn't really know him, but he died in an ambulance on his way to hospice. So that was very hard on my mom. My dad was that's what happened my first year. My second year, my dad got OD'd and got put into rehab. That was the first time that I actually knew this is actually happening. He's going to be in rehab. And my mom was in the middle of getting full custody of me and my brother while my dad was in rehab. So that was my 7th grade year, was I was dealing with my dad being in rehab and my mom trying to get full custody of me and my brother. That's what I was dealing with my 7th grade year. I was in and out of friends, and it was okay, but that was my main focus. My 8th grade year, my whole life was everywhere. It was a hot mess. I had a very, very, very traumatizing 8th grade year. Never want to go back to my middle school because of it. A lot of kids were bullying me, weren't giving me an easy time. And I was having a hard time socially and emotionally. And I was having some problems with my dad, having a lot of problems, and really needed help mentally, emotionally, and went to counseling and got all the mental and emotional help that I needed. And if it wasn't for my 8th grade counselor pass failing me and everything and just moving me up to 9th grade, I'd probably be held back a year.
Yeah, that would have been really tough.
Yeah, if it wasn't for my middle school counselor and my mom to get me to where I am now, I'm so grateful for the both of them. They've done a lot to help
Yeah.
me the last couple of years. But I wasn't having an easy time with friends, and I let in this kid who everybody told me not to trust. They were right. Should have never trusted the kid. I was friends with him from 7th grade to 9th grade, and he was in my life when I had absolutely nobody, and I just trusted him automatically. And he ended up being a jerk to me and was using me the whole time. So I cut him off in my 9th grade year, and that was like one of the best decisions that I've ever made too.
That's good. I mean, have you learned a lesson from that? Have you
I've
learned
learned
that
to just keep on being
when
myself.
people say something,
Sorry.
don't get involved with someone, don't get involved with them.
Oh yeah, 100%. I just learned that lesson frequently. My 11th grade year. Trust me, I can get into that for you. But I learned that lesson. Trust me.
Brilliant. So you're obviously struggling at learning stuff.
Yeah, and I got all the help I needed. So now starts my 9th grade year of my high school experience, which it started off with me cutting off that person, best idea I've ever made. But then in December of 2019, I was home. I came home from school. Everything was fine. The next day, my mom was going to tell us that my dad was in rehab because was in the hospital because he OD'd and was going to rehab again. Well, that turned out that we got another phone call that night that my mom had to tell us. My dad had a stroke in rehab, and if my uncle wasn't there, he would have been dead. And my dad was in intensive care on Christmas of 2019. So that was a very big, like, eye-opening experience. Like, you can see what that stuff does to you. And like, that's the path of my life that I totally do not want in my life. Like, I never want to do something like that. And he's taught me a very valuable lesson. So I'm very thankful that he has taught me that lesson and has given me a very eye-opening experience. But like, it's just insane to think something like that would have happened. Like, till this day, I think that's crazy. Like, he lives in a sobriety, like, sober house. So it's like, to me, that was crazy. So I was processing that my 9th grade year, and then COVID happened. So I was remote the rest of the year, and my mom had COVID on March 13, 2020. So that I was just kind of like in doing school, and that like the best I've been in school. Then my 10th grade year, we were back like remote, hybrid, or in person. I was in person, and that wasn't so bad. Like, I was just chilling. The January of 2021, I started my podcast, Amanda's World. Oh, I love that thing. I see me doing a full-time career with that. That podcast is my baby. I love it. And I started my podcast, and everything was good. Now my 11th grade year, I learned the same lesson I learned in 8th grade. Do not trust everybody anybody tells you not to trust. I let another boy into my life who I was like trusted as a friend, and he was using me the whole time for a podcast episode. So I dropped him, took down his episode, and haven't spoken to him since. But my 11th grade year, I came back being the best version I've been of myself ever since. And now the whole school knows I do a podcast. And I just toured colleges. I'm applying to Oswego for communications. And I'll be starting my senior year next year.
Wow. So you got it kind of mapped out a little bit then. So let's wind you back a little bit.
Yeah.
So going up into so your middle school was pretty crap.
It was horrible. I'm sorry. I don't say I hate things, but I hated that middle school. It was torture. I hated it.
So let's move you up into your high school then. So
yeah.
You got into high school and COVID came in.
Mm-hmm.
So you were forced to work from home remotely.
Yeah, I loved it.
How did you find that?
Loved it. I would love to go back to being remote. I enjoyed it. I loved being home. I'm sorry. My grades were the best they've been since being remote, and I enjoyed it personally.
And is that because that you find it easier to concentrate doing online than being in a class full of kids?
No, because I liked when I had free periods or had off, I could go do interviews in between being home. I could get work done for my podcast. So I liked it in that aspect. And then like I didn't have to see people I didn't like and stuff. So like in that aspect, I liked it.
Right. So when did you start your podcast?
I started it on January 21st, 2021. I've been doing it for a year. I just hit 8,000 listeners. It's been viewed all over the world. I've gotten to work with companies such as Barstool, MTV, BuzzFeed, Overtime Sports, and etc. I've gotten to work with a lot of amazing people, and I'm very thankful for that platform that I have.
So, what's your podcast about? What got you started on it in the first place? What was your podcast about?
So it's
What
called A
did it
Man's
start
World.
out?
Sorry, it's called The Man's World, and it's basically just things I'm interested in or things that I want to complain about, but want to bring on a guest who might have similar things to complain about with me. It's basically just my little world of things I find interesting or things I feel like I want to bring awareness to.
Hmm. So, whereabouts roughly in America do you live at the moment?
I'm in New York, in Long Island. I'm from Northport.
Right. So, Long Island's quite a big area, I guess, is it?
It's huge. It's massive.
So, I guess there's endless stuff to get involved with there.
Yeah, well, it's crazy. It's been viewed all over parts of Long Island. I don't know how I did that. I'm very grateful for it, though.
Yeah. So, do you go out and about recording stuff, or do you just
So
recruit?
I record on Zoom at home if I'm doing a big celebrity, but if it's people from my school, I'll record it in school. I don't know. I just kind of take the opportunities as they come.
Hmm. So, celebrities. Who's the biggest celebrity you've had on other than me?
Chantel, 100% Chantel. She has a Grammy, and she wrote Rihanna's song "Man Down." I love Chantel. Ridley, that lady has my whole heart. She's my favorite human being on this planet. Chantel, loved her. Or Morgan Evans from the Teen Wolf After Show.
Uh-huh. So, Chantel, how did that go? How did you get on the first
I
place?
DM'd her on Instagram asking her to come on, and she responded to me and was like, "Oh my God, I'd love to come on." And that was just such a great experience. I got to genuinely have a conversation with her about her music, and I just every single second of it, I loved it.
Hmm. So, when did you post that one?
Last year sometime. I don't remember when. I've done so many interviews that half of them I don't even remember when I posted them. I don't.
I know the feeling.
No.
So, I not to boast or anything, but at the moment, for the last 2 months and this month already, I'm sat at number one as a host on Podmatch.
Oh, that's great.
So, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm
Yeah.
doing something right, I guess.
That's great. Congratulations.
But I'm having a ball at it. I really am. I get to talk to all sorts of people.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking to you at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
And,
I was ranked top 10% for Anchor Teen, which was sick.
so this might be a difficult question to answer,
Okay.
but who's the worst person you've interviewed?
Oh, I'm not going to name drop him. If you're listening from my school, you know who it is. I let this rapper from my school on my podcast. That was the worst decision I've ever made. I'm sorry. It really was. Listen, we were very good friends, but we're not friends anymore because he was using me for a podcast episode. So I took down his interview. But I just I don't feel like he took it as seriously as I would have liked him to. And that also was really, 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 really difficult to record because he didn't know how to use Zoom. Like, who doesn't know how
I
to use
bet,
Zoom? Like, it's
I
so
bet he didn't
simple.
know how to talk either. I
No,
mean,
well,
I
not even
can't
that.
understand what they're talking about.
Well, no, I even told him not to curse, and he cursed on the podcast. I told him not to
Mm,
call out people. He called out our school. So the episode just wasn't it did really well. It had over 100 something views, but it was just really difficult to record, and I wouldn't go back and refilm it. It was hard.
mm.
And also, I don't think he realized how seriously I take this stuff. So it's yeah. But I
Well,
wish him and his music career the best. I really hope his music's doing well. We're just not friends anymore. And that was my decision. And that was a really good choice on my end.
quite right too. I mean, I don't allow swearing on my podcast at all.
No, I made an exception for him because I didn't want to go reshoot it because it was really hard to edit it too because his audio was all choppy because I don't think he knew what he was doing. But I wouldn't do it with him again. And I don't think I'd ever work with him again either. I did not enjoy that.
So, what was one of the most memorable other than Chantel?
So I had on these two kids from my school, and it was really memorable because me and the girl that was on had our mics on. The guy didn't have his microphone on, so you couldn't hear him in his podcast. And he broke out singing Taylor Swift, and that was a really just fun moment. Where I don't know, any celebrities who show me their animals, that's fun. I enjoy that.
Mm. Did you like the opening on mine when you turned up?
Yeah, I love cats. I have my Siamese right here. Wait, let me grab her. This is my cat. Say hi.
Oh,
This is
hello.
Daisy.
Well, that was mine, Artie, the ship's cat. He's I think he's off out at the moment. He's
Oh, cool.
he does like to tear around at night.
Oh, she's
So
horrible. This cat's a beast, right? You're a beast. Yeah, you're a bad beast. That's what you are. Yeah, she's so bad. She gets in trouble 24/7.
Yeah. Is she vocal?
Oh, very vocal. All she does is scream.
Yeah. She's quiet at the moment.
Yeah, she's quiet at the moment, but you never know.
So, your podcast, going forward with it, is it just the one podcast you got at the moment, or have you expanded?
It's just the
into
one
something?
podcast I have in the moment. And I tend to keep it like that for right now. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? I gained a following very quickly and was not planning to, and I'm very thankful for everything I've gotten to do with this podcast. I just want to keep it at one right now.
Mm-hmm. So what equipment do you use to record on?
I use my computer, Zoom, my microphone equipment, what I have over in my room somewhere, my Anchor app, and then my audio stuff that I use at school.
Mm-hmm. So you use a handheld recorder?
I have a pod track.
Okay. What do I use? If I'm my setup is I've got an M1 iMac.
Oh, cool.
With the camera, which is a brilliant bit of kit. I was using a MacBook Air, but with using video on that, you hear the fan going all the time, which is a bit of a nuisance.
Yeah.
No fan noise on this. I have a Rodecaster Pro, a Cloud Lifter, and a Suntonics Podcast Pro mic, which is built in Britain, which is a lovely mic.
That's cool.
It's a bit like a Rode pod mic, but half the weight. I mean, look at that gorgeous piece of equipment.
Yeah.
And the quality is really good as well, I think.
Yeah, I also, if I'm doing interviews where I'm getting interviewed, I use my AirPods. I just forgot to grab them. They have like a mic in them that I use. I like using my AirPods. And
then because I'm a little bit deaf, I've got hearing aids, but they hook up to the computer.
I was gonna say I'm very loud, so you're probably able to hear me. I'm extremely loud.
No, that's great. You know, it's just, that's what I like about StreamYard, because it levels out the audio on both sides, and I download the individual tracks when I edit in Adobe Audition.
Yeah.
So I tweak a little bit just to put a little bit of processing on, just to make it sound a little bit better. But the video is brilliant. It drops down, the audio is set for it, and it'll go up looking like this with a top and tail on it.
Oh, cool.
So, where are you going to take your podcast to? Where do you want to be? Where do you want to evolve it?
I'm hoping to be signed to a talent agency. That's another story. I'm working on it, and we'll see what happens. Like, I see me doing this full time, like having a career and like a degree on this communication stuff and doing this full time. That's really where I see myself.
And that's what you're looking at going to university for?
Yeah, I'll go to college, and I'm planning on going to Oswego, SUNY Oswego. That's where I'm applying to. We'll see.
Yeah. And whereabouts is that? Is that in New York?
Yeah, it's upstate New York. It's like 6 hours away from where I'm from, and it's nice. It's pretty. I loved it up there when I was there.
All right. So you've been up and had a look at the place, and
yeah.
And the course is a good course?
I get free SUNY schooling because of my situation with my dad. That's the one positive thing that's come out of it, is that I get free schooling because of my dad's disability and everything. So I'm happy. Like, I get free schooling. So
that's a result in itself.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's expensive to go to college anyway.
It is.
Well, Amanda, looks like you've got yourself sorted out and going in the right direction.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on.
No, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
I love speaking to kids.
Yeah.
I did a podcast with my granddaughter. I mean,
Oh,
she
cool.
was 9, and we had a chat with her last year about lockdown and being and some of the problems that she was facing at school and all the rest of
Mhm.
it. So, yeah. So thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me on.
No, you're welcome.
The Tim Heale Podcasts. Ordinary people's extraordinary stories.